So thanks so much for checking out my video, you guys. This is just a quick video that I took of myself during the pandemic, giving myself a haircut in the house. You can see that I already started on the sides, got those knocked out, and now I'm working on the taper in the back, which is always so tricky. The little hair on the side is just not cooperating with me. When you have hair like this at the nape that is turned in a way that is a little complicated like mine is, you want to make sure to consistently brush it so that it falls down and you can see how it's going to look once it's cut. You can see my clippers push the hair up and turn it a little bit, so I got to brush it back down, make sure I see what's actually happening in the haircut. Beside that, you guys just take a look, see what you think about the cut. Let me know if I did a decent job or not. It's super hard to cut your hair yourself, especially, backwards in the mirror. But I think I did a decent job. It's not as clean as a cut that I would have done on someone else, but what can you do? Pro tip for any newbies out there, what you see me doing right now is switching from a half guard to a 1.5 guard. The reason for that is because if you extend your 1.5 guard all the way fully open, it should be really close to a 1.5. So what I did was blend from my half guard closed all the way through to half guard open. Now I put on a 1.5 guard closed and I'm going to work it all the way open, and that's how I get my blend on the taper. Another pro tip for any people getting the haircut, so if any dudes you go to a barber, even females you go to a barber, the reason that I keep turning the camera is so I make sure I get a good angle. Sometimes the light will throw shadows on a fade and make it look like there's hair there that there's not, or disconnection there's not. So you want to make sure to turn towards the light and get as even as light as possible. Also, if you a client, right? The reason that it's important for you to keep your head where the barber puts it is because they're playing off of the light. So if you continually are moving your head, talking, shifting, you're not going to get the best haircut that you can get because your barber can't see as well as they need to. So make sure that you keep your head in the place wherever the barber puts it. It's not about you in this moment. It's about them and making sure that they get the best visual line on the haircut as possible. So always keep your visual line as clean as possible. Make sure the light hits as evenly as possible. And clients, keep your head still. Keep it where they put it. They put it there for a reason. You guys see I'm not waiting until the haircut is all the way done to do the lining. The reason for that is because I got put onto a tip from my homie Red when I was still back in barber school like 18 years ago. And something that he pointed out was that if you put in the lining before the taper and the fade is actually done, before the whole haircut is done, it just helps you see the finished product better. So another pro tip, if you're struggling with your fade, if you're struggling with your taper a little bit, go ahead and line it up so you can really, it just really brings everything into focus of where you need to go back in and attack. What I'm doing now is going back in and I'm clipper over combing with my JRLs. First of all, love those clippers. But I'm clipper over combing with a 1 guard already on it. Now, I already got the comb there. Why am I clipper over combing with a 1 guard on as well? Well, the width of the comb is going to be about 1/8 of an inch. That's a 1 guard. Having a 1 guard on the clipper is another 1/8 of an inch. It brings my total length to a 2 guard, right? 1/4 of an inch. And that's what I ran across the bottom. So what I'm doing here is taking the bulk off at the same length that the bottom should be at. And that way I make sure I don't put any holes in my haircut. This is a self haircut, y'all. There is no room to really mess this up and try to go back in and salvage it. I gotta be safe. And so I clipper over comb with the 1 guard, which equals a 2 guard, if that makes any sense. So y'all can follow me on that line of thought. And that just makes sure that I don't dip into the length at the bottom of the haircut. If I go too low on this clipper over comb, or my clipper slips off of the comb, I'm gonna put a big old hole in the bottom of the haircut, and I'm gonna have to start all over. And that's not what I'm trying to do, right? So that's the reason for the guard on the clipper over comb. I also will do this with clients that I'm not really familiar with. If I don't exactly know how a 2 is gonna hit on your head, if it's gonna be too thin or if it's gonna be just right, I might clipper over comb it just to kind of get a feel for it. And then I'm able to go back, open the guard up, and be able to take some of that bulk out, which was what you see me doing here. When you're shaping with shears, or you're shaping a fro like this, you're creating a shape like this, you want to make sure to use a light background. So here you see me turning towards the shower curtain or using the wall as a clean, solid background so I can make sure I see my silhouette really cleanly. You're going to see me cut and pick and cut and pick and cut and pick and cut and pick several times. The reason for that is if you're not familiar with curly hair will extend when you pick it, and then it'll start to retract immediately, starts to shrink back down to its natural coil over time. And so what you want to do is make sure that you pick and shape and then your hair is going to contract again, so you want to pick it back out and shape. And then sometimes you want to just leave it contracted and shape it in that way so that you can see the actual finished shape while it's contracted, because that's its most natural form. So if you really want to make sure that you get a clean shape, and not just a shape that looks good walking out of the barber shop, but after they go home, they shampoo it, they put some product in it, you want to make sure you don't have those long hairs popping out and flying away. And the way to do that is to just do it over and over and over and over. Just make sure for sure that you got all of those hairs the same length. Lining myself up is one of the hardest parts of the job. First of all, as a barber in general, but specifically for myself, my forehead is like uneven, right? And most people's heads are uneven, but one of my corners goes back further naturally than the other one does. And it's not because of the actual hairline, it's because of the shape of my forehead. So that's always a struggle for me. If you struggle doing your own lining, if you struggle doing anyone else's lining, just take it little bit by little bit. There's no rush in this. There's no hurry. Like, the lining has to be clean or the haircut is not clean, period. So just nip away at it a little bit at a time in order to make sure that you don't push too far back. And there are many times, like, if you don't take anything from this video, any pro tips at all, listen when I say this part of it. This haircut is not amazing. It's not going to be super clean. It's not Instagram worthy, nothing. This is a good functional haircut. And sometimes that's all you got. Sometimes that's the best that you can do. If you're not a barber, you're just a dude at home wanting to cut his own hair, or even if you are a barber like I am, but I don't cut my hair myself very often, I'm not going to be amazing at it. It's not going to be the greatest haircut ever on the planet. And that's okay. Sometimes what you need is just function. Sometimes you just got to knock your size down, and that is what it is. What I know from my 18 years of experience is that sometimes a haircut that is at 80% is good enough and is clean enough, and that's the best that it's going to get. A lot of times barbers want to push themselves to do haircuts that looks like they're in magazines or looks like they've been airbrushed. That's just not always realistic. Sometimes trying to push a 80% haircut to 100%, you will end up messing it up and leaving with a 50% haircut. Barbers, don't do it to yourselves. Okay? If you got a good product, if it's good, it doesn't have to be great. Accept your good, put them clippers down, stop picking at things. It's also not time effective to pick at a haircut for an hour and a half. If you got a good haircut, a good one, at 30 minutes, send that man out the door and keep making your money. Because most clients will not be able to tell the difference between a great haircut and a good one. Now, if you're a barber, you're probably looking at this haircut and you're seeing all types of things like, I don't know, that taper right there, you got a little bit of weight right there. Yeah, that's cool, that's great. Whatever. Like, this is a good functional haircut, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't. It has to be good. Settle for that sometimes, okay? Because the option is that you're gonna F the whole haircut up and have to ball somebody out, and that's gonna be terrible, right? I would rather them leave with a good haircut than a really, really bad one because I tried to push good into great and ended up messing it up. All right, so pro tip. All right, that's about a wrap. Like I said, it's not amazing. It's not a perfect haircut. It functions. It got me through. It's exactly what I needed. I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure that you leave me some comments below and some tips. Do you cut your own hair? What do you do? What should I have done different? I'm down to listen. I appreciate y'all checking me out. I'll see y'all later.